Okay, so today we are going to take on beverages. And like we did last time, I'm going to break this up into two styles of illustration. One is going to be a much more casual illustration style, which everyone can manage because it is more about enjoying your own, I guess, level of illustration. So we're not looking at making very realistic looking, almost photorealistic illustrations. That's something that requires a lot of practice and it's going to take a lot of time. So we'll peg that as a long-term goal. But in the meantime, you don't have to stop yourself from making your own illustrations for, say, maybe a book or just a card or whatever. There are lots of applications in which you can use these beverage illustrations. So the first type is going to be very casual. We're going to do it fairly quickly. And the second one, I am going to show you what it takes to make a more realistic illustration. So I have shared an image of these 6 beverages with different types of fruit. It's probably just not even beverages. It's like fruit water or something. I love making these fruit waters. Most of the time, I enjoy just looking at it while I pass through the house. They look very beautiful. And then I keep forgetting that I have to drink it also. But that lasts maybe 2 days, and then I don't have the patience to make any of these. I keep forgetting. But they provide us a very nice series of illustrations you can make of different kinds of combinations, like a blueberry basil, grapefruit and chili, strawberry and thyme. So it's just one fruit, one herb. And at the bottom, we have lemon with different combinations, lemon and cucumber, lemon and grapefruit. So we are going to focus mostly on the shape of the fruits. Water over here is transparent, so we are not going to really make that. There is no ice. There are no complicated things like stirrers or your straws or any garnishes that are more than just uh, the true form of that fruit or vegetable. So we'll make this series. This becomes it. This can almost also become like something that you can put up in your homes, in your kitchen. So this is going to be very illustrative. Then I have shared a few images which I really liked because of a number of reasons. One is color. I did not want to make a beverage which had a very dull color as the sample illustration I wanted to show you. So I have chosen colors which are vibrant, even if they are light. So even if this iced tea looks light, there is a color change from the top to the bottom. There is ice in these, which is a big problem area for illustration. There's something about ice, a transparent solid that we can eat, that is put in a liquid. That whole thing is a little messy for us to compute and then try to illustrate. So I really wanted to take you into the ice space. And then, of course, these are very lovely illustrations. This in itself is an illustration. So I would want to avoid making an illustration from an illustration. This is very easy to do. And if you feel you want to practice something, feel free to look for illustrations that you want to copy from, because you can see colors, you can see form, you can really see brush strokes and how colors have been distributed in this illustration. So they're very easy to copy. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I would like to just show you how to convert real life materials and colors, textures and shapes into an illustrative form. So both these are really nice. And if we have the time, I'll come to this, but we'll basically be covering how to look at all of these references and make your own illustration. So let's start with these fruit waters. We'll make the fruit waters on this whole page. So we have enough space We don't make them too tiny because then we won't be able to put in as much detail as we would like to. And we do notice a lot more detail than we think we do. So the struggle often is about seeing something and drawing something completely different. We don't want that. Just give me a second.
Aditi, we'll be doing all 6 of them, right?
We'll be doing all 6, but we will first do one. I want to show you one,
Okay.
and then
No,
we
I was wondering whether we should put the book
upright.
lengthways.
Yeah, we can make it that way. That is also a nice idea. So, one second. No. So today, these illustrations we'll first make with pencil, and you can also make these in color pencil. Those of you who have color pencil, you can use those. Use a blue colored pencil if you have it. A dark blue or even a light blue is fine. So when you are distributing your elements on a sheet, first try to visualize how large you want to make it. We can change the sizes of our illustrations to suit what we are trying to show. So that's why I wasn't too concerned about making them upright or sideways, because here we can make them as we see them in the picture. So 2 jars on one on top of the other, or 2 on top of the other to make 6, or you can make them as an ensemble. So you can have 2 jars in the center, 2 on the side, which are overlapped by the ones in the front, and 2 further away or something like that also. Just to keep the size larger, I will try to change the composition also. So that way you learn 2 things, not just making this in a straight form, but using this illustration to completely change the composition for yourself. That's another creative way of going about this illustration. So one good thing is that all of them are in jars. So before we start this, in the back of this page, let's try making that jar first. It always helps to do something on a rough sheet before you attempt the fair version. So for the jar, let's first make a loose rectangle and make it really light. So hold the pencil far away now. Now in this rectangle, I think we can make it a little taller. In this rectangle, this part is going to be the mouth of the jar. Here is the neck till about this side. The neck is where the sides of the jar will narrow inward. So you have one part which is completely parallel to each other, the edges. Then at the neck, or you might even call it the shoulder, the line starts turning inward, and then you have the screw top, what are they called? Threads, which form the mouth of the jar. So each of these can be marked in proportion and in absolute straight lines. Then at the base also you have some turn in, a line turning in. This is how you give yourself the proportion. And as a beginner, it makes a big difference to your art if you can proportion it like this. If I were to just ask you to start drawing the jar, you might be a little confused. You might not see things a certain way and definitely not get symmetry. Now, once this is done, we can move to we can move to the color pencil to test this out. And keep your lines very casual. The same process we can convert into a very realistic illustration, but here we are going to keep it very simple. So all glassware always has a rounded edge wherever there is an edge or a rim. So we round this part and draw the line. Oh, sorry, my pencil is not working today. This is the opening. Then we are going to draw two parallel lines which are at a slight bit of an angle and two pairs of those. So these look like the threads and make them bulge out a little bit. Then finish the neck off by drawing the lines just inside the bulge. And now keep looking at the jar. Is the turn of the jars, the shoulder this short or is it tall? So sometimes it can be this tall as well. It's a very long curve. And you can visualize this. You can see what works. And you can also use this to change the shape of the jar. So let's assume the jar is this, the original shape that we've made. So you make an arch around that line. And then pull the line straight down, both sides. And then turn around this as well. So make a nice rounded edge on the sides. And at the bottom, you can either keep it straight or you can make it a little rounded as well. Both will be fine because it's not a very finished artwork. And we give a nice rim on the neck also. Now, once you have drawn this shape, you can attempt making this same jar without all these shapes and modifications. Okay, can you see how my lines, just this shape has made the right side of my jar a little wider. Since this is in rough, I'm correcting it so that I know what not to do next time. But I wouldn't bother correcting. Okay, now let's try making this without these guidelines from the top. Draw a horizontal line, make the rounded edges, draw these threads. This time your lines will be a little crude, but at least you have gone through the process of making the jar once, so you know what to expect. There aren't surprises. And just a trick to be able to draw these lines slightly nicer. Whenever you're drawing vertical lines, hold your pencil sideways. When you're drawing horizontal lines, hold your pencil upright. Tell me if it was easier to draw the second jar after drawing the first jar and visualizing and practicing it with the grid.
Certainly easier, Aditi.
Good, good. Okay. Now let's make this in the front. Don't be scared. Everything will be fine. So if you want to, You can make the same rectangles because once you see it, it's easier to draw it. But if not, let's just be brave and draw these jars. So how I'm composing this is make the jars like almost a gathering of or a group photograph of jars of these beautiful waters. But I don't want to just keep it like that. I want to also add a few elements around it. So I want to add maybe a lemon, maybe some sprigs of mint or basil or rosemary lying around here or just floating up in the air. So as we make the jar, a few things we can add. Now again, if you are the visualizer, you know what to add where. But since I am instructing you, I would like to make this in pencil first. Then color pencil if possible, but if the pencil lines become too dark, we will move to ink and then we will paint it. So let's make the rectangles for the jars first. I'm making them somewhere here. So the positioning of the jars is going to be like this. I will have two jars, not in the same line. The one on the left is slightly lower. The one on the right is slightly higher. There's a gap between the two. And by higher, it just means that it's behind. Then the third one can be even further, a little closer to us on the right. And the fourth one can be just higher than that. So in terms of height, you have this one is tallest, this one is next, then this one, then this one. So when you're making a group snap, somewhere you need to follow some form that goes over the lines, but you can't like the heads of these objects. But if you have them all standing in an absolute height-wise distribution, then it'll have to be different items. But if it's the same item, you can make a little bit of, you could compose them a little irregular, but still maintain some sort of overall shape. Now on the other side, we can have a jar again, slightly forward, but you don't want to hide the other jars. So just a small sliver is covered. And if you run out of space, you don't need to make the fifth one. This one is hiding quite a bit, but I'll just make it for the composition. So avoid putting any two wherever they are in at the same height. So this one is lower, this one is slightly higher, this one is slightly higher. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, almost two different radiating lines following. Now, this is one space where I find a lot of confusion and a lot of frustration. How do you know what is a good composition? So, in many ways, as we go along, I will be showing you what the different types of compositions can be. But in this case, now you'll see that if I were to draw a line from the tops of all these, I will make a nice wave that is harmonious. And if I were to keep one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, again, there is symmetry, so there would be a nice wave. But if I were to keep these two to align, these two align, these two align, that starts becoming very boring and disturbing. The other way to also see it is that the ones that are on top, they follow one line. If I were to just draw a line through their centers, and then the ones at the bottom follow another line, which is almost parallel, but if not parallel, at least it is radiating in any one direction. So it's not as if I'm drawing this line, and this fellow is somewhere over here, which is like, okay, where do I fit in? And even the wave would be disturbed. So the point is that once you start seeing how the negative space matters, you will be able to come to a good composition yourself. All right.
Can we get it a little? Can we get a little focus on the sheet? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Now, the other places where composition can change, you can have maybe some lemons over here, just at the corner, one lemon. Okay, just for clarity, I'm going to name my jars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 is here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm drawing a little lemon. This would be a full lemon on the left here. Then if this is basil blueberry, I can draw some blueberries here. And I can also draw them a little away from the jar. They don't have to be right there touching the jar. Grapefruit and jalapeno. I think instead of a grapefruit, let's draw a jalapeno. So let's draw the smaller element. Strawberry and thyme. You can draw a strawberry, but you don't have to. Raspberry, let's not bother. And here there are 2 limes, so let's not bother. Then we can draw the herbs. The ones that are good are, of course, this rosemary is beautiful. So you can draw a few sprigs of rosemary like this. I'm just going to draw the main veins on the right of jar number 4. Maybe even have it come outward like so. We can draw basil. Basil has a wonderful structure. It's got these 4 leaves at the junction. So if you can draw that, I'll show you how to draw it. We don't have to be technically accurate. We just have to draw wider leaves for basil and a few leaves for rosemary, which are more slinky. So now we've got all these elements and now we can draw them. So first, always start drawing the jars in the foreground. Anything that is in the front, at the bottom of the page is the foreground, and anything higher is the background. Everything in the middle is the middle ground. Since we are drawing elements that are slightly overlapping, let us make the elements first. So draw the line very casually. If your chili looks like something else, it's okay. I'm drawing this with a number 2 pen. For
Do you use a color pencil or should we go ahead with the pens?
if your pencil lines are light enough, you can use color pencil also. I'm just using a pen because my color pencil is on strike. And with pen, then you can see what I'm drawing also much better.
So if we do it with color pencil, then we do it with the appropriate color, right?
No, you can draw it in blue pencil. Okay, let me try making this in blue pencil for you.
In blue only, all
Yeah,
other
yeah.
pens also.
All in blue. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So if you're making it in color pencil, you can erase some of the lines or just lighten them before you go into color pencil. Color pencil is very difficult to erase, so you don't have to worry about that. But trying to erase pencil after drawing in color pencil is very tragic. So erase just a few lines at a time so that the whole thing is not disturbed. And let's make our bottles again. So make your lines fairly casual. Like I said, they will be a little wobbly. They will look very like in yesterday's children's class, there was one child who insisted that a wobbly line is an unfair line. And a line that is straight drawn with a scale is a fair line. And I lost a debate with him about what works as a fair line and why it shouldn't matter. But he said, no, one is a fair line and one is an unfair line. So I guess this is baggage from school, and I didn't want to disturb his relationship with either me or his art teacher. I said, okay, fine. We'll keep it in different classes have different requirements. My class There's no such thing. Then he tried to convince me that I should have that. So we left it at that. Now we don't have anything else happening with the jars, so you can briskly make all the jars the same way. And thankfully, because our lines are never exactly the same, all our jars will look very unique. As you finish one set, you can move to the next. Keep erasing the previous pencil lines, or at least making them lighter as you proceed. So the things that you might worry about, like the mouths are all looking different, the heights are looking different. So you might think that that makes for a flawed illustration, but that's not the case, because what we are making are the vessels for the exciting bit. So no, well, I don't care if anybody notices. I guess that's the lesson. You should not care if anyone notices if the jars are of different sizes. So casual illustration is meant for that. It's a quick illustration. It's fun. It is so quirky that you enjoy the quirks of the illustration rather than the accuracy of the stuff that you're drawing.
The jars are looking so boxy.
It's okay. Can I have a look?
Mm.
Could you move it just a little bit? Wait, let me see. Okay, so this line that you're making, make it at the junction where the curve meets the upright part.
Can I say it again?
Instead of here, I see the
Yeah.
neck, the line at the neck is all the way over here. Try making it
Sure.
right here, and also increase this length a little bit.
Okay.
Make the mouth a little taller.
Sure. Okay.
Boxy jars is not a problem. I'll just wait for a little while for you all to finish the jars. Please give me a thumbs up or something when you're done so I can then proceed. I don't want to rush you through this because this is where the whole illustration can hinge. If you are unhappy with your jars, then you will be unhappy with your beverages, and then it'll all just be sad.
This composition looks really nice. So
And
much nicer than having those six. Really lovely. Just this. Forget
yeah,
about that. Even if we outlined the fruit and the thing inside
yeah,
and did no painting, also it looked lovely.
I think so too. Yeah.
Just in blues.
Hmm.
Beautiful. Very nice.
Is everyone done? Or do you need a minute? Okay.
Need a minute.
All right. All right.
You know, Aditi, those mason jars have these lovely glass, like this one has bell or ball or something on it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The mason jars have the lovely flowers or something on it. Nice design. So that I think when I'm looking at this closely, is you kind of leave out in white or something. No? Quite
Yeah.
tricky.
No, no, we're not going to make that.
No, I'm just thinking about it as to how to tackle that. One day I shall ask you.
No, I'll tell you, while everyone is drawing, I'll just
Yeah.
demonstrate this. So that the lettering ball is done in like a running hand. So,
Yes.
so you write that in a running hand in a single line,
Huh.
very lightly.
Hmm.
I can't really see the exact shape of the bee, so I'm just making whatever I can make. And then you can make an outline to this, but don't make it complete.
Hmm.
So this simulates the
That ridge.
reflection and the wherever the light hits. And
Hmm.
automatically it starts looking like it's
3D. Yeah.
and you don't really need to make the lettering clear. So again, a mistake that we make is that if it says ball on the glass, we have to make it visible to everybody, but you can barely see
Yeah. I know. I'm just guessing the rest of it actually.
it. Yeah. So
You
some
know.
places, if you don't draw the
Yeah.
line, that's fine.
Yeah.
All the lines are inconsistent here. And there is an indication that there is some kind of an underline or a line that
Yeah.
you see at the base. That's it. That's all you need. And then all these places where you have, when we put
Yeah.
color, you can just add a little extra color here and distort some of the lines of color. And that's
Ah, beautiful. Thanks.
okay. So we are going to ignore the embossed name on the jars. And we are also going to ignore how the elements look in the fruit jar. We are going to draw the elements like full illustrative elements as if they're floating in water because we can. A photographer has to photograph what they see, and all the elements in these jars in reality are subject to gravity and uh, viscosity and whatnot, but we don't need to do that. So that's some a kind of liberation for us. So when we are making whatever we are making over here, you can literally just make all the elements float around. So you can make all the blueberries float around almost like bubbles. So you can make it like this. You can make a circle with a star in it, or you can make a 3 or 4 pointed crown on it for variation. These are going to be our blueberries. And you can keep changing the position of the star. And then within this, we can add, just float around these basil leaves. And simply draw veins like these. Very casual. Wherever your jar is being overlapped by another jar, draw that. So basil leaves are wider than other leaves. So just make sure that they look like basil leaves. But if they don't, if we are going to, you have the option of writing the flavor of that water. So you don't need to worry about accuracy there.
Aditi, on the back, can you draw the basil leaf again?
Yeah,
Together. Yeah.
it's just draw the vein first and then draw a wide curve and then just draw these little veins radiating outward any direction. They don't all have to be going up. So if you draw a leaf over here, for example, it's probably pointing down. You can draw the veins going down as well.
Okay.
The shapes do not have to be identical. The size doesn't have to be identical. Whatever you can make, you can make. Now, similar with grapefruit and jalapeno, draw a simple grapefruit shape. So that's a C shape. Or like a semicircle. And then draw a thickness to this, like so. So from one side, there is no thickness, widens on the other side, and then you join the two lines with a flat line. So another similar shape like a D. And here I'm going to put the thickness at the bottom. So I'm going to bring a line that is a little wide on the bottom than the top. And I won't make a straight line, make a line at a slant. So this will look like a thick slice. Then we can make these scallop shapes in the grapefruit to show the pith. And make some seeds, which are essentially just teardrops from the center. Some will have 3, some will have 4. And a similar C shape for the jalapenos. So draw the C shape, draw thickness on one side, which will merge into the line, and then you will draw a pith. Exactly like how we drawn, but there will be a hollow here. If you want to draw some overlapping stuff, you can draw the same elements with a change of direction, one behind the other. But even this much is fine. Now for the strawberry, a cut strawberry looks rather sad. So I want to draw a full strawberry. So you draw a V shape with a rounded bottom. And then just round the edges of the V around itself and go and join it to the top. Or you can also start off like a heart shape, but just don't dip in the center. Sonam, hold the book when you're drawing. Hold the book.
Yeah.
That way you will have more control on the line. With strawberry, we have thyme. So thyme is very small leaves. So just draw a bunch of lines like these branching out between the strawberry. Oh, I've drawn 4. I think I should draw one more. Maybe this over here sideways will do. And here we'll just draw some round leaves like that. Very casual again. So illustrations like these allow you to make, say, recipe illustrations or something very, very quickly. So if you are working on a recipe book for yourself, you don't have to wait till your recipes or your illustrations become the kind of unachievable quality that we set for ourselves. Before that, you are able to do a lot and actually start making the recipe illustrations in a style that is more charming. The next one is raspberry. Raspberry can be a little painful to draw. So just draw them like these, like little cloud shapes, which we will paint in a nice rose pink color and call it raspberry. For an illustration like that, the briefer the lines, the better. Making too many details can muddy the illustration a bit. And in this now, we can show rosemary, which has long leaves. I love drawing rosemary. The shape of rosemary is more, I think, pleasing to me than definitely thyme. But I love drawing kadi patta also, though it is far too regular for my taste. Now the last two are pretty much the same. So we can change them up a little bit. This one, I want to put mint. So let's put maybe cucumber and mint. So make, oh wait, this has got lemon, no, you know? Okay, lemon, cucumber, and mint. Why not? So we have lemon. So just make a circle. Then make another, make a circle in the center. But from the center, you can make these triangle shapes outward and then join them at the periphery. And in these also, you can add a few seeds, distribute them unevenly. And now on any one side, you can start making a thickness. Any side. For a cucumber, it's slightly different. Cucumber will have different or a large number of seeds distributed through the center, and we will make that thickness. Just repeat these maybe once or twice. If you can help it, make an odd number of elements. So I've made 3, and now I will put some mint leaves. Now, mint leaves are serrated leaves. So you make a curved line which has a zigzag shape. The last one, why not let's put watermelon. So watermelon is really lovely to watch, to draw. You can make a triangle shape. Always keep the tip rounded a little bit. End the triangle bottom with a curved line. And now make a line parallel to any one edge. So a line parallel here goes a little further and comes parallel here. And join these with a slant line. This makes a nice slice of watermelon. And again, to separate the pith and the flesh, just draw a few vertical lines, small ones, so that when you color, you can differentiate and draw 1 or 2 seeds. Now, all of these have some leaf or something. There's 2 elements. Let me see what we can make for watermelon. Again, there's mint. All right, let's put mint again. And to make it look different, maybe you can make a different type of leaf, like a 3-pronged leaf or something like that. So they don't look the same.
Aditi, can't we make coriander?
Coriander, you can make it. Coriander can be a little complicated. I've never had watermelon and coriander, but let me show you how to make that in any case. So coriander is usually it has 3 leaves on the end, and each of these leaves is very complicated. So make a shape like this for coriander and draw some veins in it, and then something like that. Coriander can be a pain to draw, but not for this style. This is fine. So just a wobbly line throughout. So what we avoided in this illustration is to draw lines which are too complicated, shapes which are too complicated. So we're not drawing overlapping leaves and these shadows and whatnot. All done.
Aditi,
Huh.
in one jar on the top, could we just kind of outline 1 cube of ice?
Let's
No, not in these, then it's okay. Oh,
not
right.
for these.
We'll do
I'll
that.
show you in the
Oh.
next one.
Right.
Okay. Now for the coloring. The coloring in this is very simple. We can make this in a max 2 or 3 layers. We color each of these elements in their natural color, and then we will add a shadow and maybe some shading. So it's not a very complicated, realistic looking illustration. So for example, let me see if I can show you the strawberry. So strawberry is, we've done this before. You can use a little bit of scarlet and crimson. And like we normally do, you can put a little bit of a highlight. Oh, one second, some of these. Huh. And paint the whole strawberry as just like a flat painting. We won't even need to do too much of shading over here. The colors are scarlet and crimson. And the painting is very simple, hardly any wet blending required. It's just flat. Since this is infused water, we are not going to paint the water. But we will paint highlights in the not building, in the bottle, or some shadows in the elements we have drawn, things like that. So I would say that for this illustration, we want to keep the skill level as just a basic skill requirement. No, I'll change the highlight. Yeah, so when you're making the highlights on things like strawberries, oh my God, I've painted again the wrong side, sideways. So, avoid making a highlight bang in the middle or in the center of anything. So don't make this highlight right here. It looks like a hollow in the forehead of the strawberry. We want to avoid that. Then while the strawberry is drying, you can use a mix of, so the name of the game here is matching the color of the herbs and the fruit and everything. So if you know how, this is thyme. Thyme has a slightly bluish green shade. So you can mix, no, what am I mixing here? Sap green and cobalt blue. And you can paint this whole thing, even the line. You can make it a very thick line also, because again, our illustration is simplified. And keep the leaves on the thyme a little narrow as well. Now, once this is done, we can start adding some other elements, either with a brush or more color pencils. And this will start making the illustration look, I guess, like a very contorted 3D, but still fun. So there will be some distortions in the 3 dimension, but it will look convincing as a 3-dimensional object. So while the fruit and the herb are drying, this is what we can do. Use a cerulean blue color and a very thin brush to now start making certain things in the glass. So we can make just a small line below the rim, below those screw top marks. We are going to have some highlight along the sides. So you can draw a line. It's a very casual line, so very watery blue shade. This has become a little dark. That comes down like that. And you don't have to continue it. You don't have to make like a continuous line. And then we make an inverted line at the base like that, curve, so that this looks like the bottom of a transparent jar. So an inverted curve, and then you have a curve that is parallel to the glass jar. So this looks like the base. Now, if we want, we can also make like the top of what might be the water by drawing something like this so that it looks like water. Only because of the illustration being in a very casual style. Now we can take a slightly deeper color like this. This is a color I made earlier, which has crimson or the same color, scarlet and crimson, and add a little bit of burnt umber, ultramarine blue, and black. You can avoid black if you want. Ultramarine blue and burnt umber is fine. And you can make some shadows like over here, or a little bit less of that in the original color, a little more of the original color, and just draw a line along any one side for to stimulate, not stimulate, simulate a shade. And it will blend, it will dry up and blend fairly easily, quickly, and it won't look as stark as it looks now. And for the seeds on the strawberry, you're not going to make them too refined. You can take a black and burnt umber and a thin brush and literally just make them casually as straight lines. So you don't have to make them look like seeds. We've made some very elaborate strawberries. in the food illustration in the past. But for this illustration, we don't really need to. We don't even have to make the seeds in the shape of the seeds. The last one, the last strawberry, I had turned it on its side. So the seeds will be a little sideways. Like this.
Aditi, sorry, the seeds are with what color?
Burnt umber and black.
Aditi, you didn't get the cerulean blue shading correctly.
What do you mean?
And the blue cerulean,
Huh?
these lines,
Okay.
didn't get them right.
So have you made them or do you want
I
to?
have.
Can I see?
Yeah.
Oh, this
Is
is
it
fine.
visible?
Yeah, this is fine. So that oval shape that I've made at the bottom is a little away from the base.
Yeah. So should I just extend the base?
Yeah, extend the base. Now, if you want to make the liquid also seem like there is some color to it, we can choose the color of maybe one of the fruit that we are painting. Like over here we have, what is this thing? It's grapefruit and jalapeno, right? So the color of grapefruit is a very beautiful, like a rose pink color. But this is infused water, so you don't want it to really look like grapefruit juice. You can um, you can take a mix of orange, scarlet, and crimson. That's what I use for grapefruit. So we already have the crimson and scarlet. Add a little orange to that. And this time you can paint this entire thing from some point where you think the liquid would be all the way to the bottom. To make the glass look like glass, keep a little edge from the sides and keep the consistency of the paint very watery as well so that it will dry much lighter.
Does this have more orange
Orange, crimson, and
and scarlet,
correct. And
all in equal quantities?
yeah, more or
Kind of.
less.
Yeah.
Look for a like a rosy pink color.
Hmm.
So similarly, look for the dominant color in the other waters, and you can paint those. In cucumber, you can make it light greenish color if you want. So that could be maybe sap green and cobalt blue and a little bit of lemon yellow and yellow ochre, because lemon yellow and sap green can be very vibrant. And if your cobalt blue does not tone it down, then you can use a little bit of yellow ochre. But as you can see, I'm going to write those colors down, no? So don't rush through. I'm just while I'm waiting for everyone to finish, I'm doing something extra. And if you don't want to use this technique in all, use it in maybe 2 or 3 jars where you paint the water the color of that fruit or herb. And the others, you can make them just like the strawberry. Now, since this is dry, I will make the flesh on this with a concentrated color, the same type. So this is that rose grapefruit color with orange and scarlet and crimson. And we will just paint the pith with that, just flat. Leave the seeds unpainted. Leave the pith unpainted. We are painting just the flesh of the fruit.
Aditi, for the fifth jar, what colors did you use? The green one?
Green one were sap green,
Okay.
cobalt blue, and I think it was lemon yellow.
Okay, right. Thank you.
The skin of the grapefruit would be yellow, a gamboge with orange, perhaps. Definitely not as rosy as the color of the flesh. So this will bring a nice color variation.
Aditi, for the pith, what were the colors? Crimson and scarlet
No, it's the same, scarlet, crimson, and orange. The
and
same
orange.
color as the wash.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
So we can also use the same color of the wash after the first wash has dried, to make a slightly concentrated top for the liquid. So this is an oval shape right at the top, which would be deeper in color, almost the same color as the flesh. And the same color you can use to make some lines on the side like that, which here we made in blue. Here you can make in the color of the flesh. And the same oval at the base to make it look more like a transparent glass jar. So this same color, once it has dried and you use it as a second layer, it could be that in the time that you made the wash and the time you use it as a second layer, the mixture itself will have dried a lot. So you can use the same, like the same patch that you made here. Otherwise, In one corner, add more pigment so that it becomes slightly more concentrated. But a second layer on a first wash always is deeper, as long as you color it after the first wash has dried. If you want blending, then don't wait, just start adding immediately so that the colors can blend easily, but keep the water quantity low. Likewise, now over here where we have the cucumber and the lemons, let's paint the lemons in lime, in this yellow lime, no, what is this? Lemon yellow color. So same process, don't paint the seeds, just paint the flesh of the lemon. A nice bright yellow color. This looks like the most unnatural lemon that you'll ever eat. But when you look at it, there's no doubt that this is definitely a lemon. It can't be anything else. And you can use that same color for the outside. That's one. This would be a nice lemon. And you can use a green shade for the other one so that it looks like lime. And a similar green shade, which might have a yellow ochre for the cucumber. And if you want, you can run this line all around the edge. So just so you know, I give you a breakdown of the colors because I'm sure that you've not spent enough time with the colors to know how they affect each other. But in your spare time, just try mixing shades. Whenever you look at your color palette, you'll see that some shades are naturally vibrant. Some of them don't present their true colors, literally speaking, and ironically enough, in this, in the cake form. Like raw umber over here looks like a very dull color. But when you try painting with it, there is a certain energy and a brightness to even raw umber. Burnt umber looks very deep, yet when you paint it on paper, it has a very nice light reddish quality to it, which we often don't see. So each of these colors have a tendency to either be warm or cool, tendency to move towards the blue shades or bluish greenish shades to a reddish yellowish shade. The more you work with them, you start seeing what their nature is, and that will give you a clue as to what you need to add. Sonam, hold the book. Hold the book. Don't hold your chin. Now again over here, we can use either this green color or the cerulean blue to draw the edges like we've done the first. And the bottom. So you make this line at the bottom. And the best thing about glass is you don't have to complete the lines. You just make half lines and that works. This has mint. So for mint, mint color is very nice. You can just directly use sap green also. It's a very nice, bright, minty color. And after the leaf has dried, you can make a deeper color and make the vein in the center. The same color, sap green, we can use for the jalapenos. So the jalapeno has a skin on the outside, which is this sap green. And on the inside, it is a lighter green. So just do like a paint by numbers. You can use even one of these colors for the inside. Now for this garnish over here, make a highlight and use this green that we had with a little bit of sap green. The green that we used for the thyme, you can use for the jalapeno, which we are using as a prop. Make the 3D effect in cerulean blue for the mouth of the jar. All of the mouths, you can make them in cerulean blue. And in everything now, we can also make some more shapes like these. Use a darker shade to make some, I guess, lines to bring in more personality. Because texture can make your picture look very interesting. Okay, so do you think you will be able to paint the other jars as well? Or do you need some color, help with color? So you could probably write the colors in the back. Don't write them over here.
Could you like paint one blueberry or
Yes.
one raspberry so it's easier for us to complete the picture then?
Yes, absolutely. For blueberry, you can use a mix of cobalt blue and ultramarine. Make a highlight just like strawberry and paint the whole thing, including that star. So you could alternate between slightly more ultramarine blue or slightly more cobalt blue. Sorry, I keep forgetting which is which now. Basil is also like mint. You can use a deep green color. So I can use, or you can use a little bit of, to be very accurate, no, forget accuracy. Just a nice dense sap green is good enough for basil. Well, let me write the color of this down, like almost like our own recipe, color recipe. Then this is for raspberry, it will be scarlet and crimson. And yeah, you can do this one fun thing with raspberry. you can first paint a base coat of a light, and you may or may not want to even leave any highlights because raspberry is not as shiny. I've not seen it as shiny as strawberry is. So after you make this first coat using scarlet and crimson, you can then actually just make dots in the same color in a few parts, and that will make it look like there's a highlight to it. Watermelon also, same colors. And sap green for its rind. And in each of them, the proportion of one or the other color can vary. Just paint over the whole thing.
Aditi, I wanted to ask you something. Last time you had mentioned something about the fan.
The
You know,
fan,
yeah, if you have a fan overhead, then
Hmm.
the colors kind of dry up, or you need to add something you had said. I think I missed it.
so yeah, the colors, an overhead fan will definitely keep drying your colors, like everything.
Yeah.
Will dry your colors more. So the overhead fan also dries colors on the paper quickly. And it makes a difference if you are going to paint a wet on wet merge in colors. If you know that those are the conditions, keep the paint better hydrated. That's one. Colors in smaller sections and also quicker. So say in the monsoon, if you want to create a merge from top to bottom, you might do it in 3 washes or 3 brushfuls. In summer, you might need 4 or 5. You might be able to do it in shorter sections, and you might also need more liquid paint to do the whole thing, and also therefore more layers. So though the techniques remain the same, the frequency or the I guess the volume or numbers, all of that needs to be adjusted literally depending upon the season. So what I was trying to say is that sometimes you would make some painting and you say, "Arey, 3 months ago it turned out fine. I don't know why I'm getting such patchy washes." It could be something as unexpected as environmental conditions. So you shouldn't feel bad about it yourself.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now for watermelon also, since we have made this as a slice, you can make it a little more three-dimensional by adding a deeper color or a second layer only on the thin side. So that again makes it look more vibrant. And of course, the seed is very simple. You'll just add black. Now, since we have made all the outlines in just blue color pencil, the illustration could look a little weak. In that case, we can consider either making shadows or in fact make like a tablecloth. So one last thing I want to show you. If you're comfortable with this, I'll just show you this last bit. So draw a line on like almost a horizon line that goes through all the jar's backs and ends somewhere here. Now I want to make these color patches, or I want to make labels for all of these. So I will put a rectangle. I would have done this afterwards, but I'm running out of time. So I'll write afterwards, but I'll show you how to make this tablecloth. You can literally make any design you want. like a checkered tablecloth or yeah, we can make a checkered tablecloth because this almost looks like a summery picnic field. Texture. So using the same pencil, we can make either checks or flowers or anything like that, or just polka dots or whatever, and paint around it. So suppose we were to make a checkered pattern. You can imagine where your line is and just draw a series of, I guess, parallel lines the same distance away. And don't go through the blurbs. Try to keep the distance of the lines and between the lines equal. Some places you'll manage it, some places you won't manage it. But all in all, it will still look good once it is complete. So normally when we want to make a very realistic looking illustration, we avoid making patterns with straight lines vertical because they tend to be too graphic and too illustrative. But in this case, we want it like that. You could also make the patterns sideways or at an angle. Once the vertical is done, you can paint just the vertical also and see how that looks. Or you can draw horizontal lines. For this, again, remember, hold your pencil upright when you're drawing the horizontal lines. Keep the distance of each pair of lines the same and the distance between each pair of lines the same. And as you go through all these elements, just lift your pencil up and go over and make contact with the paper where you are not covering any element of our painting. Now here this is going to be very simple now. You could take any color you want and make a pattern out of this. We can make red or we can make blue. Let's try making blue and yeah, we could make it like a tartan print as well. So take, say, oh, that'll be too complicated. I can't think. Okay, let's do this. Let's do a cerulean wash all over. And if it could be patchy, but patchy will look fine. So go around your bottles. And around this, the blurbs as well. And in a print like that, the fun bit is if you feel you need to stop at any point, stop at a line, like these several lines that we've drawn, to take a breather or to move on to the next side. Just make a line at this line so that you won't get patchy results like over here. Because we're going to come back into this with a deeper color, it will easily get covered up. The other technique is to just hold the book sideways and pull the color down. Always paint in such a way that you can see the tip of your brush beyond the area that has to be painted. So here's again a example of how we think things might be and how actually they turn out. If you want your bottles to stand out, who would think that making a very bright background will actually work? So you can maintain the subtle shades of your infused water, while at the same time, you don't have to make the illustration look very wishy-washy. So again, for those of you who are new and we've not done too many washes before, holding the book upright will help keep the base or the bottom edge of the coloring wet, since you depend on the pull of gravity to keep pulling your color low. So the color also must be so light and watery that it will easily be pulled by gravity. If it's too thick, then it doesn't matter. And to that end, also keeping the book upright like that will pull the color down further more easily.
Aditi,
Yeah.
while you're doing this wash,
Hmm.
when you're dipping it in color, it's like you made the entire liquid at one go, or you're adding water in between also.
I'm adding water and I've unfortunately not made the liquid.
Okay.
Have been picking from the cake, which I always discourage everyone from doing because you can never tell consistency. But if you, the correct method, at least as a beginner, is to make a big puddle. And after you have painted a certain amount, this paint will also have dried a little bit, add a little water, check consistency, and then keep painting. So because I was taking color from the cake directly, you can see that I have not got an even shade everywhere. But over here, just because all the color came down even enough, it became slightly even. I'm not scared of these textures. I really enjoy them. But if you are looking to get it even more even, like this section over here, which is of course
Yeah.
desirable in some cases, then maintaining the consistency of the paint really helps. Now, for an area this large, it would help if we had, since we don't do this very frequency, I don't ask for it. But if you had tube colors, and if you had a palette which had a deep well, then mixing a large quantity of color in that deep well would make a lot of sense because the surface area for evaporation is also very low. And once you dip into that deep well, also the same consistency of paint will be available for your brush to pick up. So that's where often you will find many landscape artists working with deep wells and large quantities of paint, and therefore also they use tube colors. All right, so now while one side is drying, the next thing, the only thing to do, I know we are past one, but by the way, before my holiday, this will be my last class with you. So at one point when I come back, we will take on the realistic painting of liquids. So while I'm painting this, I'll just explain to you. I'm using cobalt blue now to make uh, the stripes in one direction, and I'll use maybe the same color in the other direction after the first stripes dry. So next week, Susan will continue with food art. She will show you something related to this. And also she will, in the week after that, she will show you a recipe illustration. And I will be back in July, on the 8th of July. Till that time, Susan is going to take a variety of things, topics. So it's going to be like a mixed bag for all of you. It's going to be good fun. The timing remains the same, of course, and Susan will be on all the, she'll be the admin on all the classes. So if you have any problems, you can reach out to her. She's like one of the oldest students here. And I am also available, but except I won't be available at the time we have class. Since I'm going to the US, I may not be able to respond immediately. But I am available. So if you have any queries about any of our current classes, anything happening, feel free to put a question on the group, share your work, and I will respond at the earliest possible. Okay, so I'm making like a gingham checkered fabric, which even when it's woven, it is woven like that, where certain places you will have dark threads, certain places light threads, or even white threads to make the shade whiter. So you just mix whatever color you want, put the light color at the base and put a dark color on top, and make this series of checks, vertical and horizontal lines. So whenever you get a chance now, just to practice these bottles, think of other things that you can do as in translucent liquid form. You can make like a, if any of you is into vegetable juices, you can make an illustration of vegetable juice, but in the glass, instead of showing the juice, you can show the vegetables that you have used. Or you can don't make things like ice and stuff, but even without that, you can practice making glass quite easily. This in itself also is looking very nice. I quite like it. And I may or may not make the horizontal stripes. The pencil lines can remain. And to enhance this further, I can use a deeper cobalt blue, ultramarine blue, and maybe make a shadow for these. So the text can stand out, almost as if we have put some tent cards over there. The same blue color for a shadow of the chili. We definitely need to put a shadow underneath the blueberries because they are just completely camouflaged. And again, a cobalt blue for the base of the jar. In an illustration like that, there are few things that you can go wrong. So go ahead and experiment. It's if your jar shape is odd, or like even in this case, like Janita had shared that wine glass, which is something that, as Elaine rightly pointed out, don't do wine glasses. They are terrible to draw, except when you draw it in a style like this, where if one side is a little shallow, one side is long, it's okay. It doesn't matter. Don't try to make it very realistic. And of course, oh my God, I forgot to show you this part. See, it's like I couldn't, I don't know how I'm even going to leave the country with so many things remaining to show. I want to show you this, I want to show you that. Yeah, so another way, now we've made the bottom very attractive with this blue. Now the top also can be made attractive by painting those basil stalks. So from both sides, you are sandwiching these light shapes with dark colors and shapes to attract, to keep your eyes attracted in that direction. And you can draw any number of these herbs. So you can draw, from here you can draw sprigs of thyme sticking out. And so on. Okay, so I'm going to try and finish this illustration. I can't promise, but if I do, I will put it up so you can finish it yourselves. But I'm going to encourage you to just experiment. It's all just simple colors laid down. You should be able to do it. It shouldn't be a problem. If you have any problem with colors, just look at how the colors look on our kit and see what colors might change their shade to be more appropriate. So don't be afraid, it's just watercolor. Okay, cool. So I will leave you with that. If you have any questions, please put them on the group. I'm leaving only next week, next Wednesday. So I am around. But next Tuesday is too close for me to take a class. My head just won't be in the right space. So I've requested Susan to take the class. I will try and jump in a little bit towards the end to just see if any help is needed, but I'm very confident with her. So she should.
She's very good. She's
Sure.
very, very good.
Yeah.
And she does all these, I mean, the ones probably that you do anyway, but envelopes and all kinds of things, you know.
She does
I
indeed.
mean,
In
at least
fact,
I've seen her put it on an art class. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm going to ask her to do some of the stuff that she does. So like she makes those mosaic paintings and
Yeah,
they're wonderful.
very
So
good.
yeah, she'll do what she has done in the past. So all of you, I can guarantee will have a good time.
And she's very good at her lettering also.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
Aditi, what are you doing for the Instagram session today?
Today, I won't be able to do the Instagram session, unfortunately, because I'm taking the substitute classes
Yeah.
for calligraphy and also for a Saturday batch, which I won't be taking next week. So
Okay,
it's
no
two
issues.
back-to-back classes
No problem.
today, unfortunately.
Okay, okay. Enjoy your trip.
Yes, thank you. And
Have a
please
great time.
check out on Instagram in the middle of the night. Sometime I'm going to do some lives from wherever I am. I'm already
Aditi, just
starting.
show me your page once more.
Yes.
Just
I'll put the picture on the group right away.
yes, please. Because I forgot to look at your little labels, what
Okay.
you had done underneath. And
I'll
all my stripes are crooked. So
It's okay.
they're so crooked. You have no idea.
Handloom fabric. What to do?
That's how crooked they are.
No, they're nice, nice. Now make the horizontals as well. They're cute, yeah. They look nice.
Aditi, cranberry, the shade of
Found one of
cranberry.
those. Sorry.
Sorry, Elaine. Go ahead.
Nothing of importance. I just talk too much on the group.
So the cranberry shade didn't come out too well.
Wait a minute, not cranberry.
Like
dark.
the pink just didn't come out.
Yeah, okay. No, the raspberry I was going to show you. This one here. So ending with that. Okay. Because those are these bubbles, you can just make round shapes like these on any one side instead of making them all over. So wherever you don't see those round shapes, that will be the highlight space. And this will become very subtle. That's good enough. Let me see what color you got, Sonam. Oh, this one, the grapefruit, you mean? No, it's fine. I think it's fine. This, see, is this the one you're talking about? I think it's fine. It'll be like an Unni's piece, but it's not looking wrong at all.
Okay.
Okay,
So you
so
have a wonderful, wonderful trip.
thank
Lots
you.
of- you will do lots of art, but remember to enjoy yourself besides that too.
Yeah. I will.
Have a good time. Safe
Thank you.
travels.
Thank you. Chalo, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Aditi.
Enjoy your trip.
Thank you.